Hello, happy
Good
Wednesday,
morning!
everyone. Hope everyone's doing okay. It's 9 a.m.
Yay!
We want to start with what we think is really great news.
Special announcement.
Yep, the governor office of New York has given us permission to open up our acupuncture clinic as of today, April 1st, and we don't have to pay rent on the building or anything, so that's good news.
And we're going to be practicing some physical distancing while we're treating people. That was part of the deal. So we have to be 6 feet apart from them. So we have our son's old airsoft guns.
Yes.
And we figured out how to put the needles in them.
Yes.
And, you know, whoever wants to come in can stand against a wall and we'll do our best.
It's called dragon needling. You actually, because in China they developed it with the emperor, you couldn't touch him, so you actually throw the needle at the person.
I see Siobhan. Siobhan is raising her hand to come in first, so...
April Fools! April Fools! That's April
Fools!
We just wanted to bring a little levity. That whole thing was a sham and kidding. I think you probably figured it out when Laura said the airsoft gun, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
We're not
Maybe.
really open.
No, we're not, sadly. Yes.
But we're here with you now, and we're very excited
here's,
about
dog
that.
number 1 says hello.
Oh, dog number 2's here.
And dog number 2 says hello.
Kid.
So,
she did not look so happy about
yes,
that.
no. So they
Come here,
yes.
Karma. It's okay. So anyway, let's get on to our topic because we had so many.
I hope that didn't upset people. We were just trying to get a laugh for April Fool's
April
Day.
Fools.
Yes.
April Fools. It's better than putting the saran wrap over the toilet bowl. Do you guys remember that?
No, that's your weird college experience. So
No,
yeah, no, I
what
never
do you
did.
mean?
I never.
I did that at home to my parents when I was like 6.
Doesn't surprise me. Actually.
Or the short cheating of the bed. Or no, the rubber band around the sink sprayer. Remember that?
Wow. See, they're really...
All right. Let's move on. So we had a lot of great questions yesterday from the herb topic, and I was thinking, man, maybe we should have gone over some of this other stuff before we jumped into it because there's some important information if you're going to be taking Chinese herbs.
Right.
And hi, Michelle. Michelle actually had a great question about interactions. So let's just dive in about some information about taking herbs responsibly in our states. So the rules can change from state to state. Federally, things change as well.
Right.
And in our state, there's really no licensing for herbs. So anyone can prescribe you an herb. Like you could be walking down the Wegmans aisle in their supplement section and the person stocking the shelf could say, hey, you're looking for blood pressure herbs, take this. So I'm sure that wouldn't happen.
Kind of scary.
We love our Wegmans workers, but I'm just using that as an example.
Right.
So you just want to make sure if you're taking herbs and someone is actually prescribing them for you, that they actually have some knowledge of them and have studied them and have had some experience with them. So in our practice or in our licensing with Chinese medicine, if you went to school in California, herbology is automatically a part of the curriculum. Because
you could be the world's the best acupuncturist in the universe. If you don't pass the herbal part of the exam, which is half of the exam in California, you can't practice. So that's important to them.
Yes. So that is one of the reasons I actually chose to relocate from New York City to San Diego to do my schooling in acupuncture because California actually at the time had the most stringent
by far.
Requirements to become an acupuncturist.
Probably still do, I think, actually.
Yeah. And I really think that the herbal piece of it is extremely important. I equate herbs in our practice to pharmaceuticals in the Western practice.
Right.
So when I talk to people and I practice acupuncture, of course, it's up to the patient whether they want to take herbs or not. I always educate people about it. I'll say, oh, I've seen really good results with this. Here's what it is.
Right.
You know, you can take a look at it. If you decide to get it, that's up to you. But I do lecture to the Physician's Assistant Program every year at RIT. And
Rochester Institute of Technology, for those who aren't from around here.
That's right. I forget about that. People don't necessarily know
Right.
what RIT
Great
stands
college.
for.
Great college.
Yeah, it's great. And I tell them that practicing Chinese medicine without herbs is like practicing medicine with one hand tied behind my back, because it is such a large part of my practice. And there are certain ailments that walk through the door that are actually treated better with herbs actually than even the acupuncture itself.
True.
So they are a large part of our medicine, and I just love them. I think there's such a beauty in them. So just to give you an idea, so when Rick actually got licensed, there was no national licensing board for Chinese herbology. There actually is now. The NCCAOM, which is our federal governing board, actually has created a national exam, and licensing certification for Chinese herbologists. And it had just
Laura
come up
took it.
when I was going through. That is part of my training. I am a diplomat of Chinese herbology, and I think it's like we went through over a couple thousand hours of training for this. So it's extensive,
Yeah.
and it's challenging. So here's a little bit about the New York State licensing with acupuncture. You do not have to do herbs, and many people that are going to the New York State schools do not do herbs. Totally fine. Acupuncture is beautiful. It is so effective. People are coming to you for acupuncture. They're not necessarily coming to you for herbs, but that might be a question for people to ask, for patients to ask if they're wondering about the herb piece. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean if they don't have the actual board certification, that doesn't mean they haven't trained in herbs, because there are cases like with Rick that board did not even exist when he was going through school.
And I first got licensed in California where you're required to do the herb part.
And I'm not so sure what California is doing about that now, because they're going to the national licensure.
Right.
So if you are nationally licensed in acupuncture, that does not mean you have gone through the herb schooling. That is a totally separate certification. Okay, so it's a little confusing. If you want to,
that's the geeky part.
yeah, if you want to
into good
go and
stuff.
really find out a lot about it, you could go on to nccaom.org. That's the National Commission for Certification of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine.
Yeah.
So, why you would take herbs? So, a lot of people take herbs because they want to go the natural route. People will oftentimes find out that there are less side effects with herbs. They might want to go from, my theory on wellness is going from the least invasive to the most invasive. So they might want to start somewhere where it's a little less invasive. Maybe you want to do something at home with your herbs. I was actually feeling a little bit of, a little phlegmy this morning. Phlegmy, I know it's a gross word. So I'm drinking my tea, which is an herbal practice in itself, and I actually added some orange peels into it.
Dried orange peel that she
yeah.
dried herself.
I actually, you guys, I don't know if you're eating, we go through a lot of, what are those called? The little mandarin oranges.
Clementines.
Clementines. So anyway, I added some of my dried orange peel in there. We like to buy organic fruit, we peel stuff, and I want to do one of the morning things on the odds and ends of your food and what you can do with them, because there's some wonderful ways to use them for your health.
Can I say one thing, if you don't mind, Laura, about herbal formulas? The Chinese, I don't even know how many, 4,000, 3,000 years ago, developed these formulas, and they've, of course, been developed since then, updated and things, but these formulas, they balance the herbs effectively enough so there's almost no interaction with other, like Western medical, I'm not saying none, there's rarely, because they have a little bit of this to balance. If there's a lot of something, they put something else in to balance it.
Yes.
So there's not an overabundance of one herb. The only exception really that we see a lot is like singular herbs are just ginseng. Normally they're in formula formats, minimum of 3 herbs and on. So the Chinese are brilliant at balancing those formulas, so you don't see a lot of bad interactions. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's over 90% of the Chinese herbal prescriptions, or the herbs that we prescribe, are formulas, which means that there's multiple herbs in there, and they actually work synergistically, meaning that, let's say there's an herb in there that you're taking for your allergies, but it's difficult on your stomach. They might put another herb in there to help out with digestion, so that you're able to assimilate that first herb better.
It's brilliant.
Or one herb might enhance the effect of the other herb. So they'll add in that herb to enhance the overall positive effect of the formula. They're beautiful. When you look at these formulas, they are so beautifully crafted and again, have been used over hundreds of years. So, right?
And if you go to Chinatown, like Laura was saying, if you where you would see this, they literally, it feels like you're going to a butcher in a neighborhood. They lay out the herbs, they measure them out, they put them in a formula like a tea, and they put them like in white paper, and they fold them and wrap them with string, just like the old 1950s butcher would do.
And you would get,
and then you would cook them, and they're stunning looking. It feels like it's going to help you just by looking at it.
We'll bring some on because I actually will do sachets for the immune system that you actually would just throw into your chicken soup to help boost your immune system.
Forgot about that.
Help enhance the immune system. We have ones for digestion, and I love getting the herbal part into the culinary, having your kitchen be your actually medicine cabinet as well. So food as medicine is definitely one of my passions. So another piece about herbs is they are very powerful, and that's why you should go to someone that knows what they're doing. There was a statistic at one point that 70% of pharmaceuticals had some kind of herbal derivative, meaning that there was a component in an herb that they took out of it that was very effective, and they made it into their pharmaceutical or chemical derivative of it. So if you think back, there's some common ones like penicillin is like mold and
fungus,
fungus. Aspirin comes from willow bark. Digitalis comes from foxglove,
which grows in fields all over the place.
I talked about moxibustion, the artemisia, the artemisinin is being used for the malaria pharmaceutical now very successfully. So
Nobel Prize.
They are powerful. So you just want to be careful with them, follow the instructions. I definitely have people that I'll say, okay, take this many herbs, and they'll, triple the dosage thinking it's going to just work faster. Or take all 3 doses in the morning at once so they don't have to take it through the rest of the day. But you really want to pay attention to that too. So there are some websites that you can, I think WebMD has one. That might be all pharmaceuticals though, but there's some websites you can look at that will talk about interactions with Western pharmaceuticals and herbs. I will post a few because you can just play around with those yourself. Again, you can also message me. I'm happy to answer questions about what you might want to take for herbs, as well as your and talk about your pharmaceuticals and help you out any way that I can. All right, and different forms of herbs. I've got my notes here that I use when I lecture to the college. So anyway, different forms of herbs. We have showed you the pill form. We will definitely be going over the raw herbs. I'm going to show you the formula I have that we throw into soup or bone broth. I love putting them in bone broth. Or if you're a vegetarian, you can do vegetable broth. And then there are tincture forms, which are the herbs that are steeped or they're let to kind of marinate in usually alcohol, sometimes in a glycerin basis if people are not able to do the alcohol basis, but that you can take you take through the dropper full.
It's liquid form.
Talked about the pills. There's topical too. So our son recently broke his ankle, and
long story.
Yeah, our fellow acupuncturist Darlene Easton gave us this whole little tutorial on these herbal topical plasters, and he healed amazingly fast. So
orthopedic was blown away, and he did acupuncture.
We also use something called bruise patches. When people have an achy back, you put the herbal patch on, and it's like canvas on one side, and the other side has the herbs on it, and they work like a charm. So, and then there's powders. Some herb companies are putting out herbs in powder form, where you just add them to hot water and then you drink them.
Like freeze-dried type, right?
And some people prefer that because they don't love to pop pills. So there's so much to talk about with herbs. It's so exciting. All right, we will cover more.
Yes.
Probably some more specific formulas, but we just wanted to let you know about safety and efficacy and
all of that is not an April Fool's joke, so.
Yeah, no. That's good stuff. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy April 1st.
Yes.
Hang in there.
Yes.
We love doing this.
We're here
we love
for you.
connecting with you.
Keep the messages coming.
Yes,
Keep it coming.
we like that. We like the communication part.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Thanks.
thank you, everyone.
Hi, Janine. Bye.
Good night. Goodbye.